Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag
Flag, of the state of Mexico, and be assembled for perfect friendship among united cultures.
Please be seated.
Madam President, members of the board, I don't think we have any principals reports tonight either. Superintendent's report, I've been bored out of my mind. There's not a lot going on, Tom. I've heard some of us. Well, Tom, we had to wait for the new year to start, and so we kind of got to a standstill there waiting for July 1, and then Tom, of course, has been busy. We do have Arissa, she started with us July 1st. We do have our principals, our new principals hired. Mr. O'Brien's one. I think everybody's met Mr. O'Brien so far. Cesar Alvarez has been available. He's been here working at the middle school. Bobby Grace has been doing a few little things at the elementary school. We have pretty much all the staff hired. We're missing a sped teacher here and there.
And the ELA teacher.
And ELA teacher, Miss Sattertide at the middle school resigned Monday, I believe. And so we opened that position, so we're pretty much fully staffed and we're ready to go to work, I think, so. I think that's construction, where you're getting closer and closer and closer to going to out for bid or RFP and so I'm gonna say July 27th is the magical date there. So things are going good, football's going, volleyball's got some trips going, basketball's done. We got all the portables at the high school ready for all the classrooms. Our swing set came in, they haven't put it up yet for the intermediate school. And, anything else, you guys can think of anything else? We've been trying to hire some Filipino sped ladies, but the paperwork has been overwhelming crazy. And so we may end up having to scrap that idea. We found one that's been here, it's been teaching, but they have to go back to renew their visas. And it's literally an act of Congress to give them that. Is a J1 visa back?
J1.
It is, and we wouldn't be able to get her here till December anyway, but we do have one retiring in December. And it'd be nice because we have this, you know, for the last several years, we've had special ed people come and go and come and go. Be nice to know we had one for 3 years and that's, and they interviewed her, she spoke great English, she's been around a while. But it is just a mountain of paperwork and expensive. So we don't know what we're gonna do with that yet.
Right. Our buses are,
Buses
we
are
have
ours,
all bus drivers hired. I think we have one left to hire.
one quit today, so. I decided to become a teacher, I'm not a bus driver at the blind school.
Yeah.
And so we've got the buses are all here, they're getting maintenance, our new bus is in paint, our activity bus is in the paint booth now. So I think we're ready for war. July 30th, we'll go to Redoso, start the staff, and then the next day we'll come back and have our party. And we've got to work on that still, but we don't have the whole agenda done for that, so. With that, I'll stop.
I had some questions, but I gotta talk to you and Mr. Sines
On what?
on getting some bids down the road for some repairs and stuff at the high school track and football field house, getting that painted.
Getting that done?
Yes, sir. And he said we need to get 2 or 3 would be our best bet. I hadn't talked to him since our last meeting, but
We can get after that, we can get some quotes, we can have National and White Sands,
Yes,
both
sir.
come in, they're both CDS vendors.
it's the
and give us a
one
quote.
building standing out that doesn't seem to match
Paint job.
anything else, right? And that paint, I don't think it's been painted since.
Yeah, it's the 10 color.
Right, exactly, so.
Yeah,
To make it after we do.
actually, we could probably do that faster than you think, we'll get a quote, and then we'll give Mr. Bregler there and, see if we can actually afford it.
I know, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's really the, see how that would come out and where and how far we'd have to push that down the road a little bit if we had to.
Well, you know, if it's just paint, I would think just the paint job would be reasonable enough,
And he seemed to think so, if it's just the paint,
just the paint.
and he said the roof, there's some minor things that need to be done to that, but he said that that won't cost a whole lot.
It's a metal building, so that's not hard to
Right,
change even some tin out on the roof.
Yes, sir.
Literally, so. Well, I'll get that done. I'll start on that tomorrow.
all right.
Moving on to business. Consideration of agenda.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the consideration of the agenda.
One second.
There's been a motion, and a second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Consideration of minutes.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the minutes for the June 11, 2025 regular school and the June 26 special meeting.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second, to approve consideration of minutes. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration of check register.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the check register for June 2025, and we do have Mr. Breckley present for any questions.
No, as soon as one of the easier ones, you know.
All motion.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve the check register. All those in favor say aye, opposed say no.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Consider blanket approval of bars for school year 25-26.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the blanket approval for bars for school year 25-26. This is something we did last year, and it just makes it a little easier. I do have a question. I do think after we approve the bars, we gotta bring them back here for approval, correct?
Well, I present them, I mean, they don't need to be approved, because blanket approval is their approval.
Because I was,
But then I
Amanda was
present-
talking about that today. I was like, no, we have to, okay, as long as we're doing it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Yeah, begin the discussion.
Right. Right?
Regular meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
All motion.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second to approve, the bars for school year 25-26. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
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 Ayes have it, motion carries. Consideration and approval of stipends.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the stipends. And we didn't have Mr. Bregler here, if you have any questions on those. Those are there, I can talk to. Rebecca Norris, she's, well, Shelley's gonna have to help me on some of those too. Rebecca's been, she's done a jillion things for us as a reading coach, and she's doing all sorts of just. Shelley, you wanna,
Okay,
Yeah.
so
please?
Rebecca was hired initially as our district reading coach. As we've expanded our literacy grants, the CLSD and the HQIM ELA mini grants, she's gonna be overseeing both of those. We've also applied for high intensity tutoring for the during school and the after school, which is another program that she oversees, as well as parent engagement through the house system. And so this is coordination of all of those, plus we have two positions that we're gonna be hiring on for this coming school year that she will be overseeing.
Shania wrote us an SEL, social emotional learning curriculum. Where the teachers, it's gonna, we don't have that staff for that, so she's writing the curriculum. for all the teachers to follow. So while she was off doing the baby things, we got her working on that and done a very nice job, so she got half of it done now, we can,
Upon completion.
well, yeah, it's gonna take, it's a couple of years project, right, really, so.
Okay.
And then Mary Bond, of course, all the pre-K stuff.
Right.
It's just still growing that pre-K, it's just taking a lot of extra. So those are the three grants up there that are the three stipends.
You have any questions? Mrs. Science?
Sorry, my phone was off.
Oh, sorry. Do you have any questions concerning the stipends?
No, I don't.
Motion.
Well, second.
There has been a motion and a second for the consideration of approval of the stipend. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration and approval of bus appraisal.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the bus. I put route and bus all in the same word. Route bus appraisals. They were sent off for 3 different appraisals from Roberts, Dillery, and a third one. So we had to,
This was tabled last.
yeah, we tabled it, and we had our little.
Right.
And so we finally got everything done, and the buses are ours, and it all worked out.
The number that we saw last.
It's done.
Right. All right. I'll make a motion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second, to approve consideration of approval of the bus appraisals. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Great, consideration and approval of policy service advisory 265 emergencies.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the policy advisory 265, and it's for the heart emergency, can't find it here, but the only one I want to talk to about is, and we'll get to 3.9 is the one that's we really need to talk about. Policy 265 is the emergencies is revised solely to add the new policy JLCEC cardiac emergency response plan, automated external defibrillators to the list of cross-reference policies. So that's all we're doing with that one.
Just adding the AED.
Right,
We already have them.
we have them,
We just don't have the policy.
right.
Okay. So I thought.
Motion.
I'll second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration and approval of policy service advisory 266 instructional goals and objectives.
So Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the policy advisory number 266, instructional goals and objectives. And again, it was just a add language related to science of reading and structured literacy to ensure compliance with House Bill 156 to add a legal reference to the statutory section at which House Bill 156 will be codified.
And that's the only,
Yeah, they're just adding some language to
Right.
that.
so we're in compliance.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. I'm good. I'll make a motion.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Consideration and approval of policy service advisory 267, use of cell phones and electronic devices in schools.
So Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending that we table this one, just because there's two to choose from.
Yes, sir.
You guys have a real, unless you've had time to really go through them and actually,
I have another question.
yeah, I'm thinking the second advisory is better. But whatever it is. Alternative two, I thought was a better one, but until you guys have a chance to really read them, I think that's a better one to table. I agree. Next meeting.
Want to table? All right,
I make the motion to table.
I'll second the motion.
There's been a motion and a second to table. The consideration of an approval of policy service advisory 267. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to table. Okay. Consideration and approval of policy service advisory 268, cardiac emergency response plan, automated external defibrillators.
Yes, Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the policy advisory 268. Cardiac emergency response plan, automated external defibrillators. Just lost my spot. Here it is. It's a new policy provided to comply with House Bill 154. You know, they didn't do a very good job at sending us that policy either.
I have not seen that.
I will need it actually, I'm going right now. Maybe we ought to table that until we can get a better handle on that too.
I would appreciate that. I haven't.
Yeah, there it is. The policy, it's a cardiac emergency response plan. We gotta develop and implement one, identify school personnel, establish protocols, determine appropriate location for the automatic external, which we've already done, because we have them in the gyms. and the
Right.
Places, provide for routine maintenance, which we do, because the batteries go off and sound like the siren. And be updated on this is, says necessary to be consistent with evidence-based guidelines.
So it's basically,
Start of 26-27 school years, we have time to make
Yeah.
buy,
We
if
can't
we got
take
to
it.
buy new ones, we'll buy them.
and that was my question. I don't know what the company's IFU say. I guess we can take from what the company says.
I know the ones I bought at Carrizozo, every year or so, they would send you the new pads and even if you haven't used those. before,
Right,
they would
and now
send you
the ones now, if
battery.
there's a question, you can upload a software change that they need.
And we do have a new nurse that has her PhD and she may be just the perfect person to tell us. which people
What we need and what we don't need.
Part of
Oh, and I think that,
That's what I was just thinking, because we just
That's
went over.
expired, and then you check it yourself.
Right, and we have them and we have been approved of. But you know, we need that policy that says who's gonna check them, when they're gonna check them, and so we need to write that policy for 268.
Is that in conjunction with 265?
You know what, it seems like it should be, but I don't know why it's not. I think the one came from a different House bill, is what, when I was reading through here, I was like, one came from House Bill 54, and the other one came on.
That sounds like some government stuff.
Yes, it does.
Megan,
Yes,
I think that, I'll make a motion to table it since we're really unsure of the entire thing.
The next one's even worse. so.
265 actually is not, it doesn't have to do with defibrillators, it has to do with emergencies.
265 is emergency.
But is this part of
But
the,
it says cardiac emergency response plan.
right, that's
265 is the first one.
Yeah.
great.
Automated external defibrillators to the list of cross-reference policies. So that's,
Government red tape.
I think we just, well, we need to write the policy, table it, we'll write the policy, bring it next time, and I'll get it to you early.
Yes, sir.
okay, so she made a motion to table it.
Okay.
All right.
Then, so
Second.
if,
I'll second.
so there's been a motion and a second to table policy, service advisory 268. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to table. Consideration and approval of policy service advisory 269 parental guidance for water safety.
So Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of the policy advisory 269, parental guidance for water safety. Even though we don't have a swimming pool and it doesn't really pertain.
Right.
But, if we ever to take our kids swimming, we should probably take down to the protocol.
Oh. In the future, we decided to go down to one of those new aquatic centers.
Yeah. Maybe we should have some roll. All right. Does that say anything that water fights in there? I read through that today. I was like, well, that's the only thing that.
Swimming lesson.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it would be really nice if we did have a way to teach some of our kids to be lifeguards, because lifeguards are in need everywhere right now. There's so many places that they do the summer lifeguard.
They can't find it out.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
There's been a motion in a second. Consideration of approval of policy service advisory 269. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is consideration and approval of the TIS student handbook.
Madam President, members of the board, I'm recommending approval of TIS student handbook.
Can I?
Yes, you may.
Mr. O'Brien,
Yes.
we're discussing approval of the TIS student handbook.
Okay.
I know that you were starting to kind of get familiar with it and had some revisions that you were interested in making. Are those complete, or do we need to probably table this?
I just want to go through it real thoroughly, make sure it's up to date, several.
There's no problem with that.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
I'll motion to table.
Your hands up.
I'll second.
Alright, so there's a motion and a second to table the consideration of and approval of TMS student handbook. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
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 Alright, motion carries to table.
I think we would, maybe we ought to do that one too.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I know that, Mr. Burke did go in and replace some of the names of staff, such as the new principal, Mr. Alvarez.
There's a bunch of new
But
staff
there's a
now.
bunch of new staff, so I don't know that those have been included, and I don't know that Mr. Alvarez has had an opportunity to go through the handbook himself. I did send it to him, but I don't know that he's.
I'm worried that the school starting, but that's not happening. Both of
I
us
know.
have to use last year's handbook for. This, it's still approved until the new one comes on board.
Okay, that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
Until we can go back over this.
It's nice to have new administrators having, knowing what they.
Oh, yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. All right, so. Motion to table.
I'll second.
Alright, so there's been a motion and a second to table the consideration and approval of TMS student handbook. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries to table for TMS student handbook. Alright, now we're just on discussion. Bars, board report and cafeteria update.
Mr. Bregler? Yeah.
A little bit. I had one bar in June because we received some forest reserve money, so I had to put that in the budget even though the year was almost over. We almost have all the budgets entered in our accounting system for this year, so I'll have a board report for you at next board meeting. Cafeteria, Jesse now works for the district. And
That's official.
yeah. And that's really all I have for tonight.
Wishes, summer program, summer food,
It's going good.
no problem.
No, we had some people, picking up a bunch of meals from over at the elementary, then going over to the high school and picking up a bunch more.
Right.
But we didn't have a lot going on at the high school, so we went down to just one site. Plus, starting in July, we actually had to do where they sit down and eat anyway. We couldn't do the
Okay,
carry out unfortunately anymore. I liked it, but I understand.
They can do both though, they have now, or they just have to sit
They
down,
have to sit down.
really.
Yeah, we were lucky we got away with it in June, because that was the old year. So yeah, they have to go in and sit down and eat.
all right.
But it's going good.
The trio is holding a back to school event August 1st.
Madam President, members of the board, I think Jody has the next two, actually, a trio back to school event and the discussion of graduation day.
So Trio is, we're closing down our parking lot, starting at 3 o'clock on that Friday. And then their event is gonna go from 4 to 8. And so far, the last count, they had 15 community organizations that are coming in. And it's just kind of like, they're wanting to do like kind of a little bit smaller scale of like a back to school type thing that Alamogordo does. They're working on getting food trucks to come. But just to do like a lot of like information to put it out there, just community resources. They'll have NMSU, they're trying to get ENMU, Ruidoso. So it's just kind of like a big thing. They'll have like sections in the parking lot that people can walk through. So it'll be about 4 hours, so.
Oops, first.
And the graduation day.
So we have like been, of course, graduation since NMAA moved state softball and baseball to the Armed Forces weekend. It kind of forced our hand to move our graduation back. And then we've been competing with like the area schools around us. So the first year we moved it, we went to Friday, and that's Alamogordo's. And so we share grandparents and aunts and uncles. And so like that year, we had grandparents having to watch one kid graduate, get in the car, haul it to Alamo and watch the other kid graduate, which I know it's about the kid, right? This year we were like, okay, we're gonna do it on Thursday, and Muscalero has theirs on Thursday. And so that one was a real big thing, is that we are really competing with our families on that one. I've thrown around the idea, like, it's just, we're in a no-win situation on it. Absolutely.
For sure.
Like, if we did it on Sunday, Ruidoso has theirs on Sunday. If we do it on Thursday, Escalera is doing theirs. If we do it on Friday, we have Alamogordo. If we do it on Saturday, then you're looking into bringing everyone back on a holiday weekend type thing. We've toyed with the idea of possibly moving it to Wednesday night. I've heard that's great. I've also heard, oh, people traveling, and I mean, it's just one of those things that like, no matter when we have it, it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna like clash with something else.
Unless we have it at the beginning of May.
I wonder,
July 4th, everybody's.
I heard though the Wednesday was like they would still have to stay in school, right?
No,
Or something. Oh, I thought they had
so
that.
we already actually have our final schedule and everything in place on that one. For all of our kids. And so,
Hold on one second, and when she's still
with,
talking.
the Wednesday, it wouldn't matter when we have it on that one. It's just the biggest thing that like we got is this year, having it on Thursday, we had people that were coming from out of town and they were like, we're having to travel in the middle of the week, and yeah, it stinks not having it on a weekend, but like if you go to school in Las Cruces, their graduating classes
That's right.
on a Monday morning or a Wednesday afternoon, like
Right.
bigger towns just have it when they have availability at the Pan Am or, so I don't know what to do, and that's kind of where I'm coming to you guys, because no matter what we do, I think we need to decide together, and then we need to have like that unified front, like this is what we're having.
For sure.
Could you bring it up to your seniors and let them have some ideas? I mean, because we had a little time, we could play with this. But have a senior class meeting, see what the seniors have to say, what would they like to do?
I think we could, but I think they wouldn't consider, they would consider what they wanted more than like, oh, like my family.
What, yeah, what's that name?
I was gonna say, we could probably still keep it on a Thursday, even though Musclaro has theirs on Thursday, we can just change the time. You know, make it earlier.
What time did, I wouldn't say, I was,
I don't know what time Musclaro has there, that's just a suggestion, I'm just saying,
I don't know,
you know,
that should be really hot. Yeah, it'd be way
Yeah.
too hot probably.
yeah.
I would think.
And then plus, you know, if the kids that would have went on Wednesday night, they had to go to school all day Wednesday and graduate
No,
that night.
no, she was saying, no, they don't have to go to school.
Okay, because last I heard it, that's what we had to do, so.
Yeah, I
Well,
had just asked her that, but
So
They'll
like,
be
we still
on
have a
campus.
school day, like but it's usually by then we're into makeup
Yeah,
finals
there
on
we
that one. Like, we can't legally say that they,
yeah.
because that counts for it.
It's like the middle of the week.
In school still?
Is that what we were?
So the younger kids are still in school, just not the older ones.
Maybe we send out something.
Friday.
No, the older ones are too.
Yeah, but school is fresh.
Why don't we do ours like,
Who's Saturday morning?
Who's Friday?
we used to do it Saturday morning here, and when I first got here, and everybody complained about how hot it was. Sitting in those bleachers, that sun bearing down on them Saturday mornings, they said
Oh,
they hang out in
in your
the
face.
bathrooms, and they said everybody just sweating.
Saturday morning.
And that's when we moved it my first year, cause the whole board, they're like, man, it is too hot out there. to
We
drive."
got huge compliments on that. The evening time graduation move was like 100% across.
By the
board.
time it's officially graduating, the kids are walking the line, the sun is just setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Could
kind
we
of.
go an hour later, would that help us with
That's what
Mescalero?
I was wondering too, I don't. Does that help Mescalero?
We start at 7, don't we? No, what time do we start?
Six?
Seven.
We
Seven?
start at 7
Yeah.
already.
Our
So why don't we start at 7:30 then? When Mescalero, with Dr. Eric and Mescalero, maybe they go at 6.
It's cooler up there, anyway. Maybe we could talk to Eric about it and see if that'd be something that'd be.
Just make our dates, our
Maybe,
times. a
maybe
little-
they come up with it's nicer up there.
You do wanna accommodate everybody, but on
We can,
Wednesday,
Doc.
that's a tough sell. Wednesday is a tough sell
Yeah, I think.
for multiple reasons. If you keep it a Thursday and Friday, yeah, it's a lot easier.
Who's
And that-
Friday, Almost Friday?
Why don't we just go an hour earlier, or
I think we
Alamogordo
probably
go an
have,
hour later?
I think we probably have more people from
That's where.
Mescalero.
Yes, we do.
Instead of Alamo.
Right. You know,
I would say this,
as far as families are concerned, I
Yeah.
think so. I think so.
like,
But if you wanna talk to your students and see what they have to say, then
maybe students and parents, like you said, the students are gonna just be like, say whatever. They're not gonna consider.
we have to
what
walk
their
the
parents-
line.
We're open for ideas.
Yeah.
So that sounds, yeah.
At least we can have a little time to fix that, whatever we do.
I just don't want our kids to be in a situation where they're competing, they're having to choose to compete at state baseball or
Right.
softball and.
No, we don't want that either.
Yeah. And this is their day and they deserve the best that we can do for them. I understand we wanna appease everybody, but at the end of the day, it's about the kids, so.
This is great graduations last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, we, don't worry, y'all. Get older every year. So,
Oh,
you wanna look at that another month or two down the line?
Yeah, next month even.
You good with that?
Yeah.
All right.
I just wanted to kind of throw.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Whatever we decide, I'll get you back.
Alright, back to school.
We've kind of already discussed it, you know. The next board meeting, I would like to add an executive session. To that,
Yes, sir.
for
When did you say that?
August 13th, I wanna talk about my possible retirement this year sometime. If I just. I don't want, you know what I mean, I just wanna discuss it. Yes, Mr. Board. Cause I'm telling you, I'm getting a favor.
Oh, cowbell?
Motion for adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll say.
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, meeting adjourned.